Welcome to The Big Picture. I'm Phil Arno. Unless you're the very rare exception in today's world, you're watching this program in what they used to refer to as living color. Well, we've been hearing a lot about color lately. The green light law, the red flag law, the yellow politician law. Now, wait a second. I don't think that last one is official yet. Anyway, there's a lot of political controversy going on lately, and no shortage of it originates right here in New York State. Governor Cuomo has declared war on President Trump, and vice versa. And guess what? We, the citizens, get caught in the crossfire. And nowhere in the state are the people more vulnerable and exposed than we are right here in Erie County, because we're right next to the border. And on today's Big Picture, we're going to talk a lot about the Trusted Traveler Program and other political dramas that in one way or another are going to affect you, at the very least, and your wallet. With me on the Big Picture today is Erie County Legislator Ed Rath. So no shortage of things to talk about, Ed.
Well, that's right, Phil, and thank you for the opportunity to come in today and to talk to you about important county, state, and federal issues. There is a tremendous amount of issues that are at stake right now, and the public safety of the residents is at risk. The pocketbooks are certainly being challenged, and the representation from Albany, I believe, is significantly out of touch right now, so there's a lot of work to be done.
A lot of it is about money. Sometimes the old saying, follow the money, is you just can't go wrong.
Right.
And recently, the county executive announced a plan or a study that said that a new convention center should be built. And he announced that it would be about a $400 million project. The first thing that came to my mind was the question, do we need a new convention center? And is $400 million of the people's money a good deal, or is it wasted money? Is it something that's money well spent in our budget?
Sure. The new convention center, I think, is a major question that we are confronted with right now in county government. And the price tag is $450 million in today's dollars. And we had a hearing last week before the Erie County Legislature Committee that is responsible for this. And one of the first questions I asked was, is this $450 million, is that accurate? When would construction happen? And would it be a significantly higher number 2, 3, 4 years down the road? But another very important component of this issue is the fact that we need the help of New York State and the financial support of New York State to be able to pay for this. They paid for the Javits Center in New York City. They helped fund significantly a new convention center in Rochester. They've helped with the visitor center in Lake Placid. So if this is going to be a possibility, New York State needs to step up big time. And then there's many other questions we need to ask as well.
Well, my viewers are the smartest people in Western New York. That's why they watch this program, right? And when they hear that something's going to cost $450 million, the very first thing that they're thinking is, that's a government estimate. And government estimates are never accurate. Right. They always are underestimated. By the time it gets done, and that's in today's dollars, as you say, right, that's in 2020 dollars. By the time this gets done in 2023, 2025, 2027, whenever it gets done, that's going to be, and even our county controller, Stefan, said 700 million or more. It's going to be close to $1 billion of our taxpayer money. Studies show universally that convention centers don't pay for themselves. Is it worth it?
I think that's a valid question to ask, if this is the highest and the best use of the people's money. I'm not discrediting at all the work that we have done, the studies that we have looked into, and the analysis that has been created for a potential convention center, but we have to see exactly what those real dollars are. And one of the things you're referring to is cost overruns. And that happens on public works projects, that happens on major construction projects. Cost overruns are very prevalent in government. We need to make sure that if we are pursuing this, that the dollars are accurate and that there's a very tight financial picture. One of the things to make note of as well is that the convention center does bring in a lot of out-of-town visitors, and there is certainly a escalator or a multiplier effect when these out-of-town visitors do come in as tourists and spend money in our communities, go to our restaurants, spend the hotel occupancy tax. It's a 10-to-1 or more multiplier. That's a positive for our communities. But we also have other major projects we're considering right now in Erie County. The new Bills Stadium, the potential tear down of the Skyway, the extension of the light rail rapid transit out to the Amherst North campus. So what are we spending our money on? What is the highest and the best use? And this is the due diligence we need to do as public officials. And as a county legislator, I will continue to work hard, study all the numbers, and make sure that the taxpayers are protected.
Well, like anybody, we have a budget. We have a limited amount of money that we can spend. So we have to decide which direction to go to, and what's the most practical way to spend that money. And a question that comes to mind, and you just mentioned, a convention center is supposed to bring people in town that are going to spend money from other places and
Right.
bring money into our community.
And there's no question that happens. That's a very important point. And tourism is an economic driver. It creates jobs.
Is Buffalo a destination city, though? Like, I know New Orleans is a destination city. Maybe Chicago. Las Vegas is a destination city. Maybe Los Angeles, Miami. But do people come to Buffalo for tourism, for conventions? I know we have a boat show, we have an auto show, we have a home show. Those are local events.
Right.
If we build a convention center, even a very nice one, is that going to bring people from out of town to a city like Buffalo?
Phil, listening to you talk right now sounds like you were in the hearing last week. Those were exactly the same type of questions that we were asking. And one of the things that I said is, I'd like to see some data of similar sized communities as Buffalo that have recently built new convention centers and the outcomes that have been created from that. How much increase in tourism dollars have come into the communities? How many new conventions have been held? What has been the financial and economic impact to those communities? If we're going to make that investment, what we need to do is make sure that it's a sound investment for the residents of our community. So similar communities, say it's Louisville or Baltimore or Cleveland, similar areas that may have newer convention centers, is it a worthwhile investment? Also, one question that I asked, and this is important, we have a convention center right now that has been there for 35, 40 years. What happens with that space? Is the cost to tear that down and the reclamation cost, is that included in all of these numbers? And also they want to retrofit the Statler, which is a beautiful building, and they want to make that a hotel again. What are the costs to clean up the Statler? Are those numbers all tight? Because this picture gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more expensive. So we're going to continue to ask those tough questions.
Well, I guess the question that I want to know is, the people watching, the people in Western New York, is that something they can reach out to the legislature and let their opinions be known to you guys and basically influence your decisions? You guys are open to that, right?
Absolutely. I think one of the most important things that a public official can be at any level is an advocate for their community and someone who listens to the comments, the perspective, and the opinions of their constituents and then represents that. So people should certainly reach out to all 11 of us in the county legislature and share your perspective, because that's the way in which we can successfully come to a conclusion which is best for all the residents of Erie County.
Okay, something that's not talked about a lot, and this is just, following this conversation. How can somebody who's watching right now reach out to their legislator in Erie County? What's the best way? Is it a phone call? Is it an email? Is it a snail mail? What's
Sure.
the best way to actually get in touch?
I think calling your legislator, and you can go to our website, the Erie County Legislature, can be very easily Googled to find out who your legislator is. Make that call, place that email, put that information and that request and that perspective to us, and we will respond. I pride myself on responding back to my constituents, as all public officials do. If it's the county executive, the controller, the DA, the sheriff, any legislators, we have to listen to the people and respond to their questions. But also, if you're really interested, track the schedule, because the schedule is available on our website for when the hearings are happening before committees, when the county legislature meeting, the sessions are being conducted, because that's the people's business and we are the people's house.
Okay. Well, I'll go one further. Yeah, as a representative of WBBZ, I'm going to offer the opportunity to any of the legislators or the county executive to have a town hall meeting. We have seating here for 130 people in our studio here in the Eastern Hills Mall.
Yep.
We can have a town hall meeting and talk about any important county matter that you guys want to talk about, whether it's the stadium or the convention center, anything to do with the county budget. I would be glad to host a town hall meeting with any of you, and let's talk about that.
And Phil, I'll take that one step further. This is located in the 6th Legislative District, which is where I represent, and I'd be more than happy to organize that.
Oh, okay,
I'll try to
you're
fill
on.
the room with as many countywide elected officials as well as my fellow legislators. Let's have that discussion, and let's have the people here listening to each of us with our perspective. Thank you. I think that would be a great idea.
If you, the viewer, think that that's a good idea to have town hall meetings, actually on a regular basis here on WBBZ, let us know. Let us know. That would be an interesting concept. I think that would be a good local connection. That's what we're all about here on WBBZ. So, drop us a line and tell us whether you think that's a good idea. And I'm all in.
Me too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to wrap up on this segment. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more, and we just got involved on the convention center. We're going to talk about the green light law. We're going to talk about the cash bail law.
Very important
which
issue.
is very interesting, how that's affecting things. Something called Ruthie's Law, which is a county law that affects retirement homes and our older population. Stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more to talk about. Very interesting stuff. We'll be right back.